Why would she? I was sitting at the head of the long glass table, back straight, expression unreadable, while she barged into the boardroom with her trademark arrogance, heels clicking, perfume choking the air, eyes blazing with entitlement. "Where's the owner?" she snapped at my assistant. And then her gaze landed on me. She froze. The interview she had bragged about for months, the one she said would finally give her the power she deserved, was mine to conduct. Actually, mine to end. But before that moment, before the tremor in her breath and the panic behind her smile, there was a story, a betrayal that taught me just how silent revenge could be. Emotional hook, inciting incident. The night it began, she stood in my kitchen, swirling her wine, dissecting my entire existence like it offended her. "You're just a secretary," she said, laughing at my job title as if it were a joke designed for her amusement. My husband, her son, didn't defend me. He never did. She went on for 20 straight minutes, how she was applying for CEO at her dream company, how only real professionals belonged in leadership, how I'd never understand ambition from behind a desk taking orders. I just stood there, washing dishes, absorbing every blow. She didn't know the truth, not yet. My silence was not submission. It was strategy. Backstory, setup, establish the relationship. When I first met her, I tried. God knows I tried. I brought gifts, cooked meals, showed up to family functions, forgave snide comments, endured comparisons to better women she wished her son had dated. I thought marrying into the family meant gaining one. Instead, I walked into a battlefield disguised as a living room. Her son, my husband, had charm, but no spine. He let her shape him, mold him, manipulate him. And I let myself believe he'd eventually stand up for me. But people don't grow spines. They grow comfortable. Discovery of betrayal. The shift began small. A joke here, a jab there, a rolling of eyes when I spoke. Then the true hit, the day I overheard her on the phone. "Once I become CEO, I'll replace half the staff, especially women like her. Useless, decorative things. Useless, decorative, like a vase." But what stopped my breath wasn't her voice. It was my husband's, agreeing with her. "She won't last long anyway," he said. "She's not built for big things." My world didn't shatter. It crystallized. Everything became painfully clear. They weren't just mocking me. They were underestimating me. And underestimation is fuel. Shift in mindset. Strategic planning begins. I didn't confront them. I stopped explaining myself to people committed to misunderstanding me. Instead, I opened my laptop, and I began planning. Because I wasn't just a secretary, not even close. I was the silent partner, the private owner of the very company she was applying to lead. My uncle had built it. I inherited it. And I chose to stay invisible, running it from the shadows, observing, learning, preparing. She wanted power. I owned the building. Execution of the plan. I reviewed her application personally. Every lie she'd ever told was written in bold, glossy confidence. Leadership skills? Non-existent. Team building experience? Imaginary. Past employment? Inflated beyond recognition. I didn't reject her. Not yet. I wanted the full performance. The interview was scheduled. The board was prepped. Security was briefed. My plan was set. The morning of the interview, she strutted into the lobby like she already owned the place. She didn't even glance at my portrait on the wall, the one labeled Founder and Owner, Lila A. Khan. She never looks where she believes nothing important exists. Climax, the confrontation. Now she stood in front of me, pale, blinking rapidly. She whispered, "You work here?" I let the question hang for a beat. Then I smiled. "No," I said softly, "I run it." Her knees wobbled. The board members watched in silence as reality slammed into her chest. "But you're a secretary." "I was," I replied, "by choice. I wanted to understand how the company functions at every level before expanding it." Her lips parted to protest, to spin, to lie, her usual weapons. But I cut her off. "You applied for CEO. Unfortunately, your resume doesn't meet our standards. Not professionally, not ethically." Her face drained. She knew I knew everything, and I wanted her to. This is personal," she stammered. "No," I said, leaning forward. "This is justice. And justice feels personal when you've built your identity on stepping on others." I slid her file back toward her. "Your application is rejected." Silence. Her eyes glistened, not with remorse, but with humiliation she'd never experienced before. For the first time in her life, she didn't have power. Resolution, emotional release. As she stumbled out of the room, the weight on my chest finally lifted. Not because I destroyed her, but because I freed myself. All.